Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Kool-Aid Podcast. Another episode, and today we'll be reacting to the match today between Barcelona and Betis. Of course, I'd like to introduce my co-hosts Elias and Alvaro.
What's up, guys?
What is good, guys? Bro, every single time you make the entrance to these recordings, it's always like so serious. Like, yo, guys, welcome back to the Gully Podcast.
All right, man, that's
Bro,
what you do it tonight.
Yo,
isn't he always
yo,
like this?
when was the last time that the three of us were together in a podcast?
I'm
It has to be
pretty.
before the World Cup.
Before the
Yeah,
World Cup?
no, I was like, yeah, we're like around there. We did like a couple.
Somebody went to Qatar.
Yeah, and then like some people just like weren't able to show up. But anyway,
Yeah.
yo,
That's crazy.
host. So basically, like, start the topic off. What are we talking about today's
Well,
episode?
guys, well, as we said, we're gonna be reviewing today the match between Barca and Betis, and what a game that was. It was wow. No words to describe it. I haven't been on the edge of my seat so much for such a minor competition in a while. I mean, first off, my prediction was completely off. I think neither of us expected the game to go the way it did. A
Well,
two,
I predicted 2-1,
well, yeah,
and it
that's
finished
fair.
2-2. So, like, at the same time, like, I knew Barcelona were going to concede, but I didn't know that Barcelona were going to concede the second goal to basically send us to extra time.
Yeah, and to be honest, I thought today wasn't even a particularly bad performance offensively. I thought offensively today we were relatively solid. We knew coming into this game that Betis were gonna, whenever they had the chance, they were gonna defend, and if they could, they would attack, and they did just that. And it's part of their game plan. Is how they win games. Is how they bring the pressure to us. And no, it was a particularly difficult game because Betis were prepared. I think offensively we were pretty decent today.
Okay.
Um, we created chances. It was great to see Fati score, and what a banger of a goal that he hit.
Oh, yeah, he had a great goal.
Yeah, I haven't seen such a nicely hit volley in a minute, and that was good. Lewa's goal was good too, and yeah, I also really liked the penalty performance. I thought it was solid, and I liked Ter Stegen. I thought Ter Stegen, not only did he have a good game, um, excluding of course the second goal, which it bothered all of us greatly, I would imagine. Um, but yeah, during the penalties, he was phenomenal. I
Yeah.
think stopping two penalties, almost a third.
Bro, you know, actually, like, during the penalty shootout, like, I tweeted on, like, through our account. I was
Mhm.
basically saying that I trust Claudio Bravo more than Ter Stegen. And luckily, I was
I, I, I,
feeling.
I wanted to eye you on that when I saw the tweet. I was like,
No, bro, it's because, like, when you think about it, like, Ter Stegen, like, he's been on fire this season. Like, he's been at his absolute best. And he has saved penalties. Just Claudio Bravo bro, he's been so key, like, during previous penalty shootouts, that I honestly thought, like, you know what, this is just like not Barca's night. We went up, they equalized. We went up again, they equalized. I'm like, you know what, um, this is just not our night. But overall, I thought the game. I thought it was like a 7. I thought it was a 7. I think we dominated moments. I think it was more of individual brilliances. I thought Usman Dembele was our best. Was the player with basically all of our attacking threat came from.
Mm.
Um, it was just like it was either Dembele or nothing up top. I think Lewandowski, he had a couple of chances but just couldn't finish them.
Yeah, he also
Rough,
scored the offside goal.
yeah, exactly.
That
I
was the
I,
pass.
I thought Rafinha, he played a decent game, but once again it was more defensive work than anything progressive. But overall, what matters is that we got through the final, and now we face Real Madrid. It's basically like that.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we gotta care about results more than anything. And yes, I understand it sucks that we conceded against Betis because Madrid is a much tougher opponent, and that's something we gotta watch out for. But ultimately, I think it was a sigh of relief to win this game.
Hmm.
Teams like this will always give you trouble. This is the equivalent of playing a team like Croatia or Morocco in the World Cup, right? They're not expected to win it, but they're expected to give you trouble
Yeah,
nonetheless.
exactly. Uh huh.
And that's what they
Well,
did. And now that we're through, I think overall it's fair to say what you were saying. It's like a 7.
yeah.
At points, I would go as far as to say 6.5 at different points in the game. Like I said, main things I liked today from the game was the fact that Ansu Fati scored
Okay.
and that Dembele had a very solid performance, like you said, very very solid up top today. Um, and yeah, no, I like that the team when they could they would create chances and they were very attacking minded today. I did not like, however, that on the counter attack we got beat a few times, and
Oh yeah.
I felt that they overloaded a little bit on the right side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ivan, you wanted to say something? Nothing. Okay.
Me?
So, no, yeah, it seemed like you
No,
wanted to
I
say
didn't
something.
hear you. Nah, I mean, we always see that Betis is a pretty good rival against Barcelona in
Mm-hmm.
any competition, whether it's La Liga, whether it's Supercopa, whatever. Um, it was a nice back and forth game. There wasn't really like we saw Barca have the the greater amount of chances, but it was a pretty competitive game. Regarding the attack, in previous podcasts, I've been saying how they need to find consistency on the wing. They're trying to platoon wingers
Okay.
every other day, and that's not how it works. So they need to be able to find a combo. And honestly, Dembele and Fati working out today, that could be a pretty good mix, a pretty good start for Barcelona to find some consistency on the wings. Because for players, they need to have they
Mm-hmm.
need to know what to expect. You can't just have a players come in one day and not play the next two. And I think Dembele and Fati could be the answer. And it's just one game today. They need to show more,
No,
but
yeah.
this could be
No,
the answer for them.
okay, and building on that, in the previous episode, like to the preview of this game, we were basically talking about how Xavi was basically implementing the system of four midfielders. And in that four midfielders, we would basically suffer down the wings. Are we going to be starting with both Ousmane Dembele and Rafinha? And that was what he started in this game. He started Rafinha on the right and Ousmane Dembele on the left. Now, I think why um, Barcelona at times looked very good is because Dembele was having a great game. This was one of the games where Dembele shined. He had a lot of space. It basically like every trick that he was doing against Rubial, I believe that was the fullback for Betis. It was working out. He basically rolled the roulette, and it was his day. And we were also talking about like, hey, is Xavi going to line up with the same formation that he did in the last game? And he didn't. He started with Jordi Alba and Sergio Roberto as the fullbacks, and he rested Christensen and started Frankie De Jong. Those were the changes from the previous game. Now, to both of you, do you agree with his lineup? Would you have done any changes, or well, what's the plan?
Go for it, Alex.
Well,
My bad.
again, I understand for the sake of Betis, it was okay to use the wingers because we knew we were going to have the ball more. We weren't going to be having to fight as much for it, and we were going to have midfield domination. So, in that scenario, I understand why they went with the wingers. But there's if you can go back to the image real quick, showing the how the
Okay,
team.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a particularly big fan of playing your Diaba in decisive games, and as we can see, can you zoom in a little bit on it, please?
Yeah. We'll do.
Thank you. And as we can see, we're playing with the basic 4-3-3 that Barcelona goes with most times. You can also see, Busquets came in later in the game, I believe,
Yeah, he did.
and I thought
The,
that brought some positive changes for us. We also saw the likes of Marcos Alonso coming on, which again I didn't really like, but I thought he got the job done. And it was just one of those games where it makes you think, right? Does Xavi know what he wants to do against different opponents, or is he just looking for a set starting 11 that he hasn't quite found yet? And what I mean
mm,
by that is Xavi going to be the real question comes down to the basic: is Xavi going to be changing tactics every game like Guardiola, or is he going to try to have a set team that he can play with
okay.
and utilize? And
Um.
I
Well,
understand. And before we try to answer that, I understand that he still needs the players to create this ideal team, but look at how they set up against Betis today. I think it was a fine formation just because, again, they were going to dominate the game in either way, or they were at least going to do it for extended periods of time.
okay.
So having the wingers creates added pressure for the fullbacks, and it puts more pressure on the defense, of course. But I will say this: I think a four-man midfield will be crucial against Madrid. If we can dominate Madrid's midfield, their defense can collapse just as well.
No, yeah, well, this game is going to be different than the game against Real Madrid. I think we're definitely going to see that four-man midfield, because we saw it in the game that we played against a couple months ago that we ended in a 3-1 loss at the Bernabeu. It didn't go well for us, but then again, Raujo was out. Jules Koundé was just back. It was a different team. It was a different momentum. We just lost against it. We tied against Inter. We were basically knocked out of the Champions League. It gave us that negative dynamic.
Yeah, a
And
lot of things were going on.
yeah, exactly. A lot of things were going on. But looking at this game, I felt that Xavi was basically rotating a little bit because we saw Frankie De Jong come off like what in the 60th minute, Ousmane Dembele come off on the 70th, and we didn't see our starting defense start. We didn't see Christensen and we didn't see Balde. So this was basically a game where Xavi just basically like put a strong 11, but not the strongest. And this is what I got like throughout the game as well with the substitutions. I thought also the substitutions were a little bit of a mess. Just like why would you bring on these certain players in these certain moments? That's the feeling that I got like throughout the match.
And that's a fair assumption to make. I also do agree with you. I think Xavi was essentially just rotating players.
Okay.
But there's just one thing that Xavi does that I'm not particularly a big fan of.
Okay.
I think Gabi needs to get more minutes. And I know he starts a lot of the games, but I'm saying I think he needs to finish more matches.
Okay.
I understand why they do. I mean, Kessie is a great sub to bring in. He's so strong and he's so good at getting the ball back. Maybe not the best creating chances, but he gets the ball back well nonetheless. And I think that's good enough. But I don't know. I love how much Gabi creates as much as he destroys. He's a very good balanced midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
And I think alongside Pedri, they can both do something special. I just sometimes I think that Xavi takes him out a little prematurely. But listen, if we're winning, I'm not complaining.
I actually want to add on that real quick because I mean we still see that Gabi is still a little bit raw. He's not he's still not as polished as people like Pedri. I mean it's also you can tell that the maturity and mentality is different, but he's gonna. I feel like he's gonna earn the deeper minutes the more he plays. But Kiesi, from what I've seen, he's looked very solid.
Okay.
He's looked good enough to be Gavi's replacement late in game to change the play style. We see that
Yeah, but
Gavi Gavi is and plays like a hothead, and I mean he's been awesome. But I mean you can also see that Xavi likes to switch it around by taking him out of the game and slowing down the middle a little bit. So I mean. I do agree with Alex. I would love to see Gavi get more deeper minutes, and he will get them. But I mean, I think this rotation that we're doing with the middle has not been bad whatsoever.
No, I mean, like, I'm perfectly fine with him rotating for this game. I think for the next game, he's going to go full out to try and win the game against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different game. We'll definitely be coming with a preview for that. I believe it's this weekend, right? Where
yeah, it's Sunday.
Yep. Okay. Sunday is just basically Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time is when we'll be playing. But before we round off, who was your man of the match?
I'd probably say I would probably give it to Dembele.
Dembele. Okay.
Because
the man of the match was Pedri, and then I'm not going to bring up the player who was my man of the match, but I want to know your opinion.
Okay, after I tell you mine, you gotta tell me yours. But
Okay.
I honestly think Ter Stegen deserves a big spot up there because he did stop 2 penalties and he had a couple crucial stops.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before we round off, defensively, I don't think we were solid today. I think Araujo, especially with that second goal we conceded, that was embarrassing. But
No, it went through his legs. It was like a back heel that went through Araujo's legs.
Yeah, it kind of like deflected off at the end.
And then Ter Stegen like didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And then we also have to mention that Araujo stopped a key attack from Betis when Jules Koundé does a poor back pass to Ter Stegen, and the beautiful here is basically through on goal. Ter Stegen rushes out to try and stop him, and what's it called? Araujo just barely touches the ball and sends it out for a corner, because if not, they Real Betis go 1-0 up before Hondas scores that goal. But actually, my man of the match is Ter Stegen, because he saved.
I knew you were gonna pick him.
Yeah, I was going to pick Ter Stegen because he had those crucial saves in the penalty shootout. He had some crucial saves throughout the game, which basically kept Barcelona in the game and allowed us to even reach the penalty shootout.
I agree with Elias. It was Ter Stegen. I mean, he has some great stops throughout the game, and I mean, I feel like anytime that you win a penalty shootout thanks to your goalie, that's man of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's no doubt about it. Dembele played great. Fati's goal was great, but I mean, as an overall, and we've seen this all year, Ter Stegen has been the most consistent player for Barca, and I mean, he saved it today. I don't care if some of the like obviously some of the Betis shots weren't great. I don't give a shit. They were good stops. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
he anytime that goalie stops penalties and penalty shootout that leads to the win, that's man of the match.
Yeah, he was just clean. Pedri also played fantastic this game. I thought he was just class. Basically, every single game that Pedri plays, is you just know that he's a world class player. The guy is like amazing.
He's just so
And no,
important to whatever
and
we
Yeah,
do.
he uses class with every touch.
and people still like to call him overrated for absolutely no
Yeah,
reason. Of course, he's not. People are calling him overrated because he wasn't jaw dropping people like he did at the start of his career with Barca, because that's when he started. Right now, he's settling into a star.
yeah,
So you can't expect him to I don't know. I don't even know what people expect from him anymore. But he's not overrated. He's manning that middle
yeah.
better than anybody. So
All right. Well, guys, do you have any thoughts before we round off? Anything you want to say before we end the episode?
go ahead.
Well, listen, we gotta be ready for Sunday. It's not gonna be an easy
Yeah,
game.
El Clásico.
It's a classical, but we gotta go there with balls, and we gotta go there
Yeah.
with the desire to win it. We need this trophy, and we gotta go there, with the idea of getting it. There's no way around it.
Exactly. Every single game against Real Madrid, you want to win it.
Hmm.
And like we said all season, Xavi needs a trophy this year.
Yeah, he
I
does.
don't, I don't care if it's a kindergarten participation trophy. He needs to show something to the fans to give
Yeah,
hope for next year.
I
Copa del Rey, La Liga, something, and there is a great chance.
I completely agree. But guys, that was it for today's episode. As always, I post a link on Twitter. If any of you guys want to join in future episodes, you're always welcome to. If you want to join into the discussion and just basically like hang out and basically talk with us, you're always welcome to. And as always, like, subscribe, and comment. And we'll see you guys all in the next episode. Peace out, guys.
See you guys.
Thank
Have a
you
good one.
guys.